Guess I'll put on my PNG tuber. Which one's gonna appear first? That one did. Yeah. Why, hello there. Hello. Webcam today, because I want to show off stuff. Okay. But that said, I think I will keep the PNG tuber on. Just so if you guys want to mess with it, I guess. Let me do it. Hey, nice. I hope that went well. Oh, it didn't post. Give me a second. There we go. Now it posted. You bought the GMG-01. Ooh, very, very nice. Very nice. I can't pin here. I forgot. Hold on. Hey, it's a crazy dude. How you doing? Give me a second, chat. I need to quickly, because for some reason on Chrome, I can't properly pin stuff. So I have to open up fucking, I have to open up why did 2 open up? Are you just lagging like crazy? I love my computer. I love Windows. I love Windows. Love Windows 11. I love Windows 11 so fucking much. And some of the dumb shit that it likes to do. All right. There we go. Doing my best about it all. Today was payday. Unheard of. Unrealistic. Yeah, totally. Windows 11 fucking up? Unrealistic. Insane. Uninsane? I don't know. Hi, honey. Just quickly, let me quickly... Just in case, yeah, I'm gonna get the PNG tuber in the corner even though I'm doing webcam. Fixed my Twitch payment issues twice. Ha! I love this website. We'll probably talk a little bit about, some of the Twitch news. But not right now. We'll probably talk about that a little later. As always, I am not fully prepared for these streams. As always. There we go. Okay. All right. Now everything is ready. Welcome back. Thank you. Appreciate it. What's going on, Perchin? What's going on, McButts? What's going on, Long ZG? Excuse me. Bell Clover. Hope you're doing well, and everything else like that. So I'm trying to sit forward because, my God, my chair is so fucked up. I need to get a new chair in the future, but I can't because that would cost a lot of money. And I always spent a lot of money at Portland Retro, more than I probably should have, but oh well. Yeah, what's going on, Hydro? All right, we'll get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, hi, hey, hello, everybody. My name is Hypercole, and welcome to today's live stream. Hope you guys are having a fantastic Wednesday. I'm back from Portland Retro. We did not stream on Monday because I wanted to have a day off from streaming. I'm kind of glad I did that because I had other stuff to work on anyway. So, glad I did that. And obviously I always have stuff to work on, but you know, that's how it be. So yeah, the main thing on the agenda today is that we're gonna talk about Portland Retro. I'm gonna show up the shit that I got, and then I also want to tell the story of what the hell happened. Some of you guys, some of you guys might have seen bits and pieces of it on Discord or on Blue Sky, but I'm going to be telling the full story of what I like to call the Bowser trolling incident. So hope you guys buckle up for that. It's a very interesting one. So I hope you guys enjoy it whenever we get to it. But Becky, how you doing? I hope you're doing well. But yeah, before we get into it, as a reminder, folks, our only goal right now on the alert sheets right now, which needs to be updated actually, is the next art raffle and everything else like that. It's currently at 6319. So that's the only goal you can put it towards, so any support will go towards that for the time being. So as always, any support helps, especially after I spent quite a bit of money at Portland Retro. Yeah, that's fair, dude. I hope we have fun in Japan. I imagine that's probably gonna be a lot of fun. But yeah, if you want to support the channel, I'd appreciate it. Thanks. I do need to update the Twitch information here because this is wrong, apparently. There we go. All right. With that being said, one thing I am gonna do is I think I'm gonna pull up some Pokemon jazz music. Packalades. Oh my god, they released an Accolades trailer called Packalades. God damn it. Ha ha ha, very funny. Fucking Bandai Namco being funny as hell. Good old Packalades. Anyway. Pull up that jazz. Right here. Pause it. Just in time for Pokemon ZA that recently came out and everything else like that. So good timing on that. All right. I'm going to switch over to this comic music. This is Pokemon Jazz by Mindmole Music, by the way. I'll go ahead and link the video in chat for anyone who wants to maybe check out the video themselves. Just basically a bunch of jazz covers of Pokemon music. Okay. So yes, a few days ago, I attended Portland Retro Gaming Expo. It is a local con to me and everything else like that. I go to it every year. I've been going to every single one since 2016, which means 16, 17, 18, 19, 22, 23, 24. This is my 7th Portland Retro because there were a couple years where they had to skip because of pandemic issues. But yes, so this is my 7th year going and everything else like that and all that type of such. This year was definitely very interesting, mainly because of how the setup was this year. So Portland Retro has definitely been evolving over just like the past 3 years. Specifically, last year. So in previous years before 2024, oh wait, 22, 23, 24, 25. No, this is my 8th year. Sorry. I'm wrong. This is my 8th year. Like up to 2023, basically the way that Portland Retro worked is that day 1 was only the arcade and then like a few vendors that was in the arcade. And then all the vendors opened up on day 2 and 3. Last year, they changed it so that like a fourth of the vendors, like a quarter of the vendors were open on the first day alongside the arcade and everything else like that. And then this year, 3/4 of the vendors were open this year alongside the arcade on day 1, which is kind of crazy, and also shows how much bigger the con is probably getting, because they probably want it also means more shopping on the first day and everything else like that, and not just doing the arcade, which is nice. So definitely a con that's been like evolving and everything else like that. We now line up in like this big, like last year we started lining up in this big like in one of the big exhibit halls instead of just being like literally like essentially lined up around the convention center. But yeah, so it's been very interesting to see how it evolves. But regardless, Portland Retro this year was big. There was a lot of different vendors and everything else like that. There were even vendors that were even talking about how they sold more on Friday than they had even during like Saturday and Sunday on previous years, which is kind of crazy. After CTWC changed venues last year. Well, the CTWC is still going to Portland Retro. It's still there. So, did they change venues last year? I can't remember if they did. I thought CTWC was still at Portland Retro last year. I'm at the main tournament. Oh, okay. I think the main tournament still was happening. I could be wrong. Anyway, whatever. CTWC was still there. But I hung out with a bunch of friends that I'd hung out with like in previous years and everything else like that. Nikki was there. Jenny Blaze I actually met for the first time. She was there. She actually drove me home one night, and that was very nice of her. And then alongside there is Dakara, Brandon, who runs FamilyWiki. There's Joey, AK Winslash, and AK as well, and then a few other people here and there. It was fun hanging out with all of them this year. It's always fun hanging out with friends and everything else like that. Yeah, it was generally what I usually do every year. You going around the con, trying to get some stuff, but then also like maybe checking out the arcade every now and then and everything else like that. So, pretty standard stuff and everything else like that. Specifically on the side of AK, by the way. AK Family Home is who I'm referring to, by the way, when I say AK. This is his second year, actually, at Portland Retro. It's his second year coming down to Portland. It was awesome to see him again and everything else like that. What was very interesting is that, like, specifically with Takara, AK, and their group, we finally this year were just like, hey, why don't we actually have, like, contact information on Discord. So that way we can, contact each other and everything else like that. Because we never had that in previous years. For how many years I've hung out with this group. So finally that happened. So now maybe that will help with a communication even next year. So it was kind of funny. After the main tournament moved to the summer venue last year. Interesting. I'm thinking it's still the main tournament that they did this year. I don't know if that's the case. I could be wrong. I wasn't paying much attention to it admittedly. But it's whatever. Did go to a few panels. I went to 3 panels this year. First panel was on Saturday. I went to the Sounds of Nintendo, which had the former voice of Peach, the current voice of Rosalina, the current voice of Bowser, and then I don't know if it's former, but someone who has voiced Ludwig and Iggy before, and they were talking about, their experiences with the industry and everything else. Oh yeah, Grant Kirkhope was also there. Talking about their own thoughts on the industry and everything else like that, and how they got into it and everything else like that. It was a very interesting panel. One of my favorite, Mike Van Gogh? Mike Vogue? What was his name? Hold on. I need to look up what his name was again. Ludwig VA. Ludwig Koopa VA. Okay, so it did change over the years, but for a few of the games it was Mike Vogue. Mike Vaughan, I think was his name, and everything else like that. I'm guessing they reused voice clips for certain games and then it changed to a different one. All the clips but Roy were recast in Mario Kart 8. Yeah. Ryan Higgins is the current voice as of Mario Kart 8. Okay. Are you sure? I see. Are you sure that's Are you sure that's Ludwig? Because I'm seeing a different person. I'm seeing David Goldfarb for Ludwig. Point is, he was talking about his experience voicing Iggy and Ludwig, and then how like Iggy was like, "Hey, the crazy voice," and everything else like that. David is the Mario Kart 8 onwards voice. Is the current voice as of Mario Kart. Well, Eli, I think you got your stuff mixed up there. Because you said Ryan Higgins is the current voice as of Mario Kart 8, and then you said David is the MKA voice, onwards voice. I think you got your stuff mixed up there. Anyway, Mike Vaughan was talking about his, Ryan is Iggy. Okay, thank you. Thanks for clearing that up. David is Ludwig. Thank you. You didn't say Ludwig. You didn't say Iggy there, so that's why I got confused. What's going on, Bear? Hope you're well. I think the funniest quote was when he was talking about, like, after voicing Iggy, he had to voice Ludwig, and then it's like, how would you voice Ludwig? It's like, okay, well, Ludwig, I guess, is just like... It was quoted as being, like, the exact quoting, but he is quoted as saying fatter and gayer when it came to Ludwig, and that's why he went, like, the, oh. He went, oh my, oh. That's why he does the, oh, whenever he does that in New Super Mario Bros. Wii. It's literally him just being, like, fatter and gayer, and I'm just like... That's really funny. That's very funny. And thank you for soft confirming that Ludwig is apparently gay. Not actually canon, but still funny. So that was a cool panel. The second panel we went to was it was one done by various game store owners. It was called Crazy Game Store Stories. There was the co-owner of Pink Gorilla, the co-owners of Double Jump, and then there was one more that I'm completely blanking on and everything else like that. Fatter and gayer. That's so funny. That was a very interesting panel talking about the horror stories of... not horror stories, but just the crazy, silly stories of... and sometimes bad stories of... Oh, was Double Jump actually at MacFest? They might have actually been at MacFest. Maybe that's where I recognized them. Maybe. Or maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, when he used to be at Retro Game Hunting. Ooh, that's cool. Main point. It was a lot of interesting stories, like how, like, one time where Cody, who's the co-owner of Pink Gorilla alongside Kelsey. Last year's Retro Game Con. Oh, okay, that's why. But yeah, so Cody talking about how, like, someone literally grabbed something and then they, like, he ran out to them and everything else like that. And it's just like, are you going to give that back? And then it's like, the guy was just like, no. And then, like, Cody grabs the phone of the person who was stealing and just like, this yours? Slams it on the ground. Just been like, fuck you. It was really funny. There were a lot of interesting stories. I imagine a lot of those stories, a lot of these will probably be up on YouTube later. They're probably going to be trickling it on their YouTube on the Portland Retro Gaming YouTube channel at some point and everything else like that. I did not get a signature for Charles Martinet, and I did not go to his panel. Which I know some people were just like, why did you miss out on that? I personally value hanging out with friends more than probably going to a panel that I probably would go to by myself, and everything else like that. So that's just me. I personally, like, as cool as it would have been to meet Charles Martinet, I'm of the personal opinion I'd rather be with friends. I have lost puppy syndrome. That's kind of what I prefer. Everything else like that. Oh yeah, I also got to hang out on Saturday. I hanged out with my IRL friend Kimberly, or well, everyone was IRL friend, but like local friend Kimberly, and she's awesome. She's a badass, and everything else like that. So yeah, there was all that. And then I obviously got a bunch of games. Now, before we get into actually talk about what I got, it is time for me to talk about the Bowser trolling incident. So some of you guys saw this, saw me talk about a bit of it, probably on Blue Sky, maybe on Discord, mentioning it and everything else like that a bit. But now I'm going to give you guys the full story. So here we go. So on Saturday, for those maybe didn't, I don't know if I posted about this on Blue Sky, but on Saturday I wore my Bowser onesie. For those who don't know, I have a tradition for basically every con I go to. I wear my Bowser onesie for one day of a con, one day, and everything else like that. And yeah, it obviously gets warm in it and everything else like that. But it's always fun, and there are people who always compliment my onesie and everything else like that. I think it's cool. It's always a good fun. I actually got recognized by somebody who actually recognized me because of my video edits for Claire, because of my onesie and everything else like that. It was really cool. So I've been doing this ever since I got the onesie back in like 2023 or something. 2022. I can't exactly remember which. But main point, it's just a neat thing I like to do. So I go in, I get there very early because I want to be in line, up in line. Like I want to be there early on Saturday and everything else like that, because that's when it's the craziest. And as I'm walking in, there's like some Mario cosplayers we do see, and they do, you know, we joke around a little bit and just been like, "Rrr, rrr." And it's just like, you know, sometimes you get like this stuff, I go, "Rrr," and something else like that. It's just fun stuff, you know. It's always fun stuff. It's always cool to like have that little interaction with like other cosplayers in the same series and everything else like that. I think that's a lot of fun. So as time goes by, I'm hanging out with my friend Kimberly, and I think I've also I hang out with my friend Kimberly. I knew Kimberly was with me, I think. And we're walking around all of the vendors and everything else like that. We're checking out the vendors that were available on Saturday and Sunday, the ones that were in the back. And as I'm walking around, I notice, I feel something pull in the back. I feel something pull. I feel a pull in the back and everything else like that. And I look behind me and I see a Mario cosplayer. And they were kind of laughing about it, like, and I'm just like, cool. But they pulled on the tail of my onesie. Without consent. Without consent. So that happened, and we were just like, wow, that was weird. That was very weird. They were trying to be like, oh, hey, you know, this is fun. You're Bowser. I'm messing with you. Pull on your tail. And then it's just like, bruh, that was weird. But we just went out around our day. It's just like, it's like one cosplay or anything else like that, you know, just doing it. And I'm just like, whatever. So I go about my day and everything else like that. I'm having a really good time. I end up, after that, I think is when, a little bit after that is when I went to Sounds of Nintendo panel. Then I went out to lunch with my friend Kimberly, and that was a lot of fun and everything else like that. And, I mean, I just thought it was weird, Persian. We'll get to more of the story. But hanging out with Kimberly, we went to the local Burgerville, and that was it was really good and everything else like that. We were talking back and forth. We had a really good conversation in Portland at Burgerville, actually, when we were sitting down. I was talking about, you know, my relationship, my current relationship and everything else like that, and that was a lot of fun. And everything else like that, which she finds adorable and everything else like that. And I'm just really happy I have some super supportive friends. So we go back and everything else like that. And I don't know how long it's really been, But at some point, I'm outside of the actual halls again, and everything else like that. I either had walked out or was walking back in. I can't remember which one. But we were just walking around. I was walking around with Kimberly. And then, behind my back, without me noticing, I feel something hit the back of, like, either my head or my back. One of the two. And it was a fairly substantial throw. It was a plush red shell from, you guessed it, another Mario cosplayer. And again, without my permission. So another Mario cosplayer who decided to mess with me without my permission because I wore a Bowser onesie and they were Mario. And at that point, I was just like, ha, ha, ha. And I was just like, what the fuck? Like, I was like, actually, what the fuck? My friend was just like, what the hell? Yes, both Mario cosplayers, 2 different Mario cosplayers. And I want to make this very clear, by the way, these were not children. These were not children. These were, they looked, at the very least, they were either, like, late teens, or they were definitely adults. So they were people who can, like, so these weren't children. These were grown-ass people. Grown-ass Mario cosplayers, who one decided to pull on my tail, and one decided to throw a plush red shell at me without consent. So that happened. So I'm just like, I'm talking about this with Kimberly, just being like, why do this? And everything else like that. Why do this without my consent? And then we're walking around the booth even more, and I'm starting to overthink things. I'm starting to think about scenarios in my head and everything else like that. And I start like, and I want to note that before this, there was a little time before this actually where I ended up taking a break because I was feeling tired, because we were walking around a lot and I just needed some space and everything else like that. So we went to like this quiet place and it was really, really nice. We stayed there for a bit, and then we went back and everything else like that. You know, maybe getting a little overstimulated, but then but after that is when that Mario cosplayer thing happened, I think. That incident with the red shell. And then we go back. So yeah, the red shell incident, we go back. I start overthinking while walking, and I just start getting more and more uncomfortable. And my legs have obviously been sore. My feet are sore because I've been walking around all day, and obviously more than the onesie, but I'm just overthinking, and I'm feeling irritable. I'm feeling anxiety buildup. I feel like I'm having a bit of an anxiety attack, to be honest. Not like blowing up or anything else like that, but I feel very much like, oh god, oh god, oh god. And Kimberly clocked it. Kimberly clocked me. She was constantly being like, are you okay? And I'm just like, you know. And then at some point, I think she was just, either myself or she was just like, we should probably go sit down somewhere, go to a quiet place, maybe to rest. And so we went back to the same quiet place that we were. That was away from all the action and everything else like that. She was clearly very concerned for me. And for reference, by the way, my friend Kimberly, her job is actually taking care of adults with disabilities. So she has a very, very caring heart. And she also knows when bullshit is going on and everything else like that. And she knows when things are not going so great. So when we went to the very quiet place, she was like, hey, do you want me to go tell staff about this? Because this is not okay. Because I was clearly stressed about it. And ultimately, I was just like, you know what? Yeah, sure. Sure. Honestly, that might be a good idea. So she went to talk to a staff member that was close to us. I think she talked to her for a little bit. Then she came back and she said that the staff member recommended that she go talk to the information booth because that's where some people who are higher up will be. So she did that, and then she asked me, do you want me to go refill your water? I'm like, yes. So I handed her a water bottle. I stayed where I was. It had been 10 to 15 minutes and everything else like that. I just was relaxing and everything else like that. Then she came back. And what she told me, specifically, first she handed back my water, and then what she specifically told me was that the staff was like apparently one of the people, I think she had like redhead or something else like that. She had like a redhead or something else like that. So I apologize if I'm misremembering. One of the staff apparently just went into mom mode and was just like, oh, that's not okay. They felt very, very sorry about what happened. And and they put all of that info as feedback into their Discord server. And apparently they have a Discord server for like, I should probably join it at some point, where you can send in feedback, where attendees can send in feedback. If it can send in feedback to the actual convention and everything else like that. But feedback was sent into that Discord server and everything else like that. And and this is something I actually talked. I went to them actually to talk to them, to thank them and everything else like that. And so I can definitely attest all this info that Kimberly told me. But the one thing that really, really stuck out to me is they said specifically, we're going to be looking into adding a new clause next year, or a new policy that specifies that cosplay does not mean consent. For those who don't know, apparently from what I've read, this is like a very which it's obvious that's probably a pretty common thing on LAN conventions, but this is also in response, most likely this is also in response to, and they mentioned to me, where a lot more people are cosplaying at Portland Retro, and there's been cosplay contests for years, but more and more people are even cosplaying at Portland Retro as time goes on. So, I mean, look, Crazy Dude, it's a smaller con. It's still smaller than other conventions and everything else like that, and everything else like, and all that such. So, it's one of those things where it's like, it's probably one of those things where it's like, they probably didn't see that many complaints about it and everything else like that in the years, but like, there's like more and more people doing it. I understand the logic, Crazy Dude, but it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, sometimes rules just haven't been added yet. Sometimes, and look, yeah, unlike big, and they don't think about stuff unlike big, like Portland Retro keeps getting bigger and bigger, but it's still smaller cons compared to something like TwitchCon, which we'll talk about in a bit, or even MagFest. I would say it's smaller than MagFest actually, even with more and more people going to the con. But they've stated that they're going to be looking into adding that next year as a clause. Let me pass through what Toon Foz for my cosplay. Yeah, and the thing is, an actual weapon. Oh, really? They probably shouldn't have allowed you to do that. But also, again, smaller con. It's also one of those things where it's like, they probably also thought it was just common sense to not mess with people like that. They probably also thought it was common sense. But I guess after hearing about my situation, they're just like, and also seeing that more and more people are cosplaying, they're just like, all right, we have to add a new clause. So they're going to be looking into that for next year. So, like, it's just something in every con. It's so weird, because you would think that, right? You would think that. I think this is just a matter of, like, they thought people had more common sense than they really did. And unfortunately, not everyone has the common sense to not touch somebody or not mess with somebody without consent. So, look, I understand people being like, why didn't they have that before? But look, I talked to them. They clearly felt sorry, and they wanted to make it right. They absolutely want to make it right. I want to be very clear about that. Yeah, until it sends so basically, essentially drops. That's essentially what it is. So yeah, they're going to be looking at a policy next year, and they specified to me that if anything like that happened again, make sure to get a picture of the person, or have someone get a picture of the person who did it. So that way, that can be reported next time. So obviously, probably nothing happened to the two people who did it, because I didn't get a picture with them, and it was individual people. So, yeah. But, yeah. And even Dragoneer. Dark Dragoneer is one of my local friends, and he's also gone to Portland Retro for years. And so, yeah. Main point, I thank them for their response and for their commitment to keeping the con safe and everything else like that. It definitely made me feel a lot better after hearing them talk about it and everything else like that. And then after that, I got a large milkshake from Burgerville, because I fucking needed it. Jesus Christ. Like, literally, I was just like, hey, like, I was like to Kimberly, I want to get a big milkshake from Burgerville. And it's just like, yes, you're gonna go get it, because you deserve it. And that's exactly what I did. And it was delicious, because the milkshakes from Burgerville are so fucking good. It's like real ice cream, and like, I specifically get their chocolate milkshakes, and they're so like, it's not like some like fast food milkshakes where it's like the chocolate is kind of like sharp or even too artificial like McDonald's. It's like smooth and everything else like that. It's so good. My main point, that is my story and everything else like that. And the reason I tell you this is one, it obviously is going to be leaning to positive change, it seems like, for Portland Retro, which I'm very happy about. And honestly, just like being a part of like this push to make a con even safer than it already is it feels good. Feels good when that happens. But also, this is also the second thing. If anything like that happens to you, if you are ever wearing a cosplay or a onesie or of any character and this happens to you, please tell staff about it. Do not hesitate. Like, go tell staff about it, because that is not okay. People should not be messing with you without consent. It doesn't matter if it seems harmless to them. If they mess with you, and if they mess with your personal space just because you have a cosplay on, that's not okay. Tell someone about it. Tell a staff member. Let them know what happened and everything else like that. Hopefully I will go to Portland Retro. I hope to see you there next year, dude. Comes with a free heart attack, too. Violate this and you'll be escorted out without a refund. Yeah. Yeah. And everything else like that. I imagine they probably do a strike system. Anyway, that is my story of the Bowser trolling incident. To be clear, I am still going to be wearing my Bowser onesie in various cons. I'm not going to stop doing that just because a couple of assholes did that. Admittedly, there was something in my mind that was thinking about, like, why do I keep doing this? But I'm not going to stop doing that. I'm still doing the Bowser onesie through various cons. You will still, if anyone's going to MagFest, you will still see me in my Bowser onesie during one day of the con. So, just as a heads up. But yeah. Thought about an instant Sean Chiplock had. Ooh. I imagine it wasn't a great thing for Sean. But yeah. That was basically my experience at Portland Retro. Other than that, I still had a great time. It was awesome to hang out with people. I always like going to that con. And I will be wiggling my way to MagFest too. Yippee! Yippee! Very nice. Very nice, ZG. I hope to meet you there then. I imagine I will. If you're going to be a Persian, I'll meet you there. The other thing I was going to mention. Yeah. It was very funny also, having this happen to me and having my experience with the staff compared to all the bullshit that happened at TwitchCon. I don't want to go over it fully, but basically multiple different creators who had bad experiences at TwitchCon and everything else like that. One creator getting harassed and not really much being done about it. There was a thing where apparently gifts for VTubers were being taken away and everything else like that. And then there was one instance with another streamer who was just like, who was trying to ask for help, but the staff wasn't helping. And specifically, it was the one around the one creator that was ended up being harassed by somebody. And of course, the one who was harassed was a woman, because of course it fucking was. This has been ongoing for years. Well, I'm just gonna let y'all know right now. Until things change, I am probably never going back to TwitchCon ever again. I think I haven't gone for a few years, obviously, but they were also thrown away too. But yeah, I'm not planning to go back to TwitchCon anytime soon. So if I ever go back down to San Diego, I'm going down to meet friends. I'm not going to TwitchCon, because fuck that shit, man. That would make me feel so unsafe. That's such a failure on Twitch's part. Yeah, they make it clear they don't care. Anyway, but that's my other side and everything else like that. Okay, you guys ready to see some of the stuff I got at Portland Retro? You guys ready to see the stuff I got? And we'll go over some pricing also for stuff as well. I'm going to pull up, actually, my document with all the prices. So, in terms of my haul, I'll definitely say this right now. I hinted at it earlier, but I definitely had a sort of a mindset of what I wanted to get at Portland Retro. Not only did I deviate that with a little bit, I definitely spent more than I thought I would, or I said I would. I definitely went very over budget. I intended to spend like $300, I think, around on games, or maybe $250, $300. I spent $482. And that was on the most games I've ever gotten for Portland Retro. A couple plushes, and then a few other things here and there, some accessories and everything else like that. Some of the accessories I won't be able to show properly because they're kind of already set up. But yeah, Child's Play. It's too much for me. All right, Persian. But But in the past, I've only gotten like 6 games at Portland Retro, and actually, like the last 2 years, I got like 6 games at each Portland Retro. I got 15 games this year. Granted, a lot of them were actually cheaper individually. It definitely didn't. None of the games definitely didn't go as high as like. I remember like paying $90 for like, for Super Mario RPG, everything else like that. And no, I don't want to talk about it. Anyway, but point is, 15 games, most games I've gotten in any Portland Retro, I believe. And we'll go in and get into it. So my main focus this year was Genesis and Super Nintendo. Those are the consoles I mainly focused on. There were a few games that I wanted to try and get. Do you remember what vendors you shopped from there? Oh, actually I have another story. I have another story and everything else like that to talk about, and we'll talk about that later. I remember we went to Double Jump. Double Jump, I didn't buy anything from there, but we definitely went there. It was a really nice booth. Super Smash Games, obviously, I went to. There were a couple smaller booths I don't really remember. I think I got something from Hawthorne Game Exchange, if I remember correctly. There were, but I don't remember every single one, unfortunately. Aw, that sucks. I'm so sorry. But yeah, I don't remember all the vendors, but I do remember some of them. Okay. But anyway, Genesis and Super Nintendo and Genesis and N64 was my main focus this year, and I definitely had some games that I was definitely focusing on this year. I made a separate spreadsheet of like the retro games I wanted and the prices. So there were 9 games I was looking at potentially getting in Portland Retros this year, and I ended up getting 6 of those. The rest were basically off the cuff pickups. So let's start with Genesis, which I believe, other than like one game, I believe was all on my list. So I'm just gonna get the what was the cheapest thing I got in Portland Retro? Well, the cheapest game I got in Portland Retro out of the way. I'm just gonna get this out of the way. I got Shaq Fu. And yes, it works. Shaq Fu for the Super Nintendo. Look at this weird looking cartridge. Look at this weird ass looking cartridge. I was basically just like told, like whenever I was trying to look for Genesis games during PAX, my friends were just like, you should put this game on just for the memes. I'm just like, all right, fine. And I got it for $5. It's very cheap. Yeah, they're EA carts. They look similar also to what the Bubsy carts kind of looked like on Genesis. Yeah, that's probably a whole different story. But main point, it's a bad game. I probably wouldn't enjoy this game, but you know, I actually got a lawsuit for that. There was a Bubsy game. There was a Bubsy for Genesis for $5. I didn't pick it up though, because I think the Super Nintendo version would sound better. All right, so that was not part of it. These 3 Genesis games were part of it though. And I'll go in order of where I picked them up, or maybe kind of in order. One of my favorite arcade games. I didn't play many arcade games this time, honestly. Dragoneer. There was Groove Coaster though, and Groove Coaster is fun. I really like Groove Coaster. My goal at Portland Retro was to finish up the rest of the Sonic Genesis games that I needed. And I did. I did finish them up. We'll start with Sonic Spinball. This is in box. There is no manual, but it was in the box. This was $10 and everything else like that. And it was a cart that was in really good condition. We kind of pulled this out here. There's the Sega logo at the back, and here's the label. Very nice looking label overall. Only like a couple things here and there, but it's a very nice looking label. I did test all the games, by the way, and all of them do work, so I didn't get any duds. But yeah, I got this for $10. It was like, I think $3 or $4 above just getting the cart and everything else like that. And from the vendor it was also a really good deal, so I went with it. Very nice cart. The second game I got was Sonic 3D Blast. This one does not look as good, obviously. If you guys can look closer at that. There's some dings on it and everything else like that. And the PCB is not, like, perfect. But it still works. It's still a working cart. I've definitely seen a lot worse. And this was cart only. I got this for $10, I think. It's even worse. Jesus Christ. Generally one of your favorite Sonic games. That's definitely a hot take, but you know what? I respect it. How much did I pay for 3D Blast? $10 for this one. And this was actually, I think this was around price charting, actually, if I check. This was under price charting. I got this for under price charting, funnily enough. So, very cheap and everything else like that. Some games I obviously did haggle and everything else like that. This might have been one of the games I haggled. But yeah, Got this for 10 bucks. This is really nice. And then this one, I did end up paying like $5 over, but it was a case where it's like, I didn't want to keep searching for the game, so I ultimately just got a box copy of it and everything else like that. Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. This was the last Sonic game, quote unquote, that I needed for the Genesis, and this is the complete in box. It includes the manual and everything else like that. And, of course, the cart, which actually looks pretty good. I'd say the cart looks pretty good. Maybe a little bit scuffed, but I'd say that's a pretty good-looking cart. Now buy Puyo 1. I'm not as Puyo crazy as you. But it does work, and it's very nice, and everything else like that. So, I have officially gotten every single Sonic Genesis game that is available, except for Knuckles Chaotix. That, I don't know if I'll ever get that, because that game is way too expensive. Especially for a game of that quality, apparently. Alright. That being said, we'll probably go ahead and move on to N64. Because this includes the last games that that I got that were on my list. 3 of these were actually on my list. So, there were 2 games I ended up skipping out on, and that was Pokemon Puzzle League and F-Zero X. Pokemon Puzzle League, I couldn't find a decent copy, and F-Zero X, I found a good-looking copy, but I had just, at that point, I ended up skipping out on it because I was spending too much money. But let's go over the 3 games. These 2 I got as a bundle for $80, so this was $40 each, which was a little bit above price charting, like $4 or $5 above price charting, but they were really good-looking copies. Kirby 64 and Mario Kart 64. This is the Player's Choice Edition, obviously, which is not as, like, bad. But these are some really nice-looking carts. The labels look very nice. The pins are in... The backs are in really good condition, as you can see. The pins are also in really good condition. Just really good-looking carts. I believe Mario Kart 64 was $45, but I ended up getting them as a bundle, and I said $80, and they took it. So, that was very nice. And then for $25, which I got... Which this was around price charting, I got Diddy Kong Racing. So, pretty neat. Pretty neat Diddy Kong Racing. I think it was 25. Let me check again. Yeah, 25. So this is around price charting. And everything else like that. And then the last game, which was not what I intended to get, but when I saw it, it was actually like $7 under price charting, and it was actually a surprisingly good looking copy. I went to, it was the Crazy Games, it was the Crazy, I went to Crazy Game Store Crazy Game Store Stories panel, Sounds of Nintendo, and the best and worst 7 out of 10 games. That was the last panel I went to, actually. I forgot to mention that. That was Brainy panel. The Game Store panel actually was probably my favorite. But the last game I got was Ocarina of Time. The variation, by the way, if it matters, is 006-01, which might be a revision of the game. This was $25. This was $7 under price charting. And everything else like that. And it is in surprisingly good condition. Like, the label looks pretty good. This is version 1.1. Okay, fair enough. But the cart looks very nice. All the pins are intact and everything else like that. It still has the Blood and Fire Temple chanting. Really? Okay. This is the one you have. Okay, that's cool, actually. I imagine this one does this one remove the Islam symbol or something else like that? I think it was Islam. Like the Islam references or anything else like that. Because I know one of the versions at least did. The point is, $25 for this. Under price charting. The Crescent Moon. Wow, so it's also under. So this was just to fix some stuff. That's neat. I'll have to try this out at some point then. I haven't really played through all about Ocarina of Time, so maybe someday. But yeah, those were the N64 games I got. 3 intended, 1 not intended. Now we move on to everything else. Everything else that was not intended. So, let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna go with, let's go with DS first. So I got a couple DS games. The first DS game that I want to point out is a game I've actually been looking for a while, but I haven't gotten, and I'm really glad I was able to pick this up. Because I want to play more of this because it's a game made by Sakurai. Meteos! I finally have a copy of Meteos. Finally picked up a copy of it. The game is already in my 3DS because I was trying it. But this is a very, very neat puzzle game that clearly has the style that you know from Masahiro Sakurai. Like, the menuing. The menus of this game are very Sakurai. And it's a very interesting part of his history. I got this for around 18 bucks. That's how much I paid for it, which I think is around price starting, I think. It might be a bit over price starting, but the point is, I have it. I'm glad I finally have it now. I every time I tried to see if I could find it, I could never find it. So I'm glad I have it now. And then the other game, there was an XBLA I didn't realize there was an XBLA version of it. And then the second game is one that I think I also got under price charting, I think. But it was very much just like, you know what? I might as well just get this because it's one of the games I can't really play from the collections. Kingdom Hearts Recoded for the Nintendo DS. I didn't have this, and this one's in pretty damn good condition too. Pretty good condition. This is one of the Kingdom Hearts games that you cannot play through the collections. It's only the cutscenes. Yes, and it is a port of the like the mobile Japanese game Kingdom Hearts Coded. But this one I have not played, so maybe I'll play this on my own time or something else like that. Which is very cool to get this. Comes with the manual, obviously, and I think does it come with it comes with Square Enix members. It comes with that too. This is a really good looking cart. I will say, funny thing about Meteos, I thought they printed a sticker on the label. I was like, oh, that's not on the thing. I thought, is that on the label? And then you open it up, it's just a piece of paper. It's just a piece of paper. So smart, but that gave me a bit of a scare initially. The one part not in Recoded, the Coliseum episode, has been preserved as well. All right. But yeah, really cool. And then the most unexpected that I didn't think I would get games for. Let's talk about the PS1 and PlayStation 2 games that I got. Why did I say it like that? PS1 and PS2 games I got. I did not expect that, but there was one game that actually started me on getting a few PlayStation games. And that game was Bust a Move 4. I was very happy to see this. When I saw this and everything, so specifically, I was with Nikki, and she was looking at a copy of Bust a Move 2 Arcade Edition on PlayStation 1, and she was trying to look for a copy. Obviously, it was a very, you know, the artwork is like very cursed. But then I found this. I'm just like, fuck, I want that. I actually want that because I have a PlayStation. It does work, and the disc is actually in surprisingly good condition. I like the look of the disc, by the way. Look at the disc. That's a cool looking disc. There's Bub. And the disc was in really good condition. So I got this for around $18. So this was 18. And then the other one I decided to get because I have the remake, but I don't have the original, is Pac-Man World for the PlayStation 1. It says 20th anniversary. There's a little bit of a thing in the back, by the way. I need to scrub that off. But the disc is in really good condition. And it's a really nice looking disc too. Look at that. There's actually, so there were two versions I found. There was this version, and then there was I think a greatest hits version, and the disc is boring. Like, it's just like a black disc with the logo without like this colorful shit. So I'm glad I was able to find one that had the colorful disc on it. But that was $18. I paid, I think, around $15 for it, which I think was like $3 above price starting, but that's fine. There's no R in the GH version, which is dumb. Also, I found out Pac-Man World has a widescreen mode. I found that out. That was interesting to see. But yeah. And then the final two games I ended up getting, I'll go ahead and go with these in order, were both Sega related and everything else I got on PlayStation 2. This one I was actually very happy to find because I think I actually tried a little bit and I think it's super, super neat. I think Claire's shown this up on her streams before. Sega Classics Collection for the PlayStation 2. This is a collection of various classic Sega games, but remastered. These are remastered versions of these games. Enhanced graphics and sound. Experience these games like never before. So this includes Outrun, Space Harrier, Virtual Racing, Monaco GP, Tant R, which I have no idea what that is, Golden Axe, Columns, Fantasy Zone, Bonanza Buddies, and Alien Syndrome. Remastered. And apparently, yes, they are part of the Sega Ages collection too. But it's really, there were 33 volumes of that in Japan. Damn, dude. But still, like $10 for this is a really damn good deal. For like 10 remastered games on the PlayStation 2, I think that's pretty damn good. So I was very happy to get that. That was a pretty much par with price starting too. And then finally, because of course it has to be Sonic, Sonic Mega Collection Plus for the PlayStation 2. So this is the greatest hits version. It has a few dings here and there. But this is a version of Sonic Mega Collection with some bonus stuff. It has all the Genesis games that were in the original GameCube release, but also includes 6 additional Game Gear games, some unlockable games as well. I think there's some extra Genesis games in here as well. There's a redesigned interface and extra bonus material, including the unfinished Sonic Heroes intro. But here's the funny thing about this. You want to know the funny thing about this? Compared to the original version on GameCube, one, they actually make the actual screen of the Genesis game smaller on PlayStation 2 for some reason. Like, there's like borders. There's like clearly black borders around it and everything else like that you can see. So it doesn't fill up the entire screen. And then, funnily enough, from just playing one of the games, playing Sonic Hedgehog 2, I think the emulation is slightly worse, because at least the sound emulation feels slightly worse. I don't know if that's just me. I would have to go back to, I have to go back to these versions. I would have to go back to Mega Collection on the GameCube, but I actually think I prefer the GameCube version, also because of the style of the GameCube version. Like, I think the look they went for is still good, but I love the style of the original GameCube version personally. Now, with that being said, they did add the addition to do basically do saves on any game, so you can do a save on any game in the collection instead of just having only saves on Sonic 3 and Knuckles and everything else like that. And then some of these features would go on to be a part of Sonic Gems collection, funnily enough. So this is like a precursor to Gems collection, essentially. It's really cool, and I think if you get it, you can't really go wrong with it, but it's just interesting. It's very interesting. But yeah. That is all the... Oh, right. There's one more game. I got one Game Boy Advance game. And this is a game that I saw for years, and I was just like, maybe I'll get it. But I ended up skipping on it. But I had literally exactly $19 left. Oh, by the way, I paid $10 for Mega Collection Plus. I paid $15 for... I already said $15 Prep World. But this one, I had seen for years, and I'm just like, you know what? I have $19 left. Fuck, I'm finally gonna get it. The original... Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories for the Game Boy Advance. The original. I've never even played the remake either, so... But this is basically... this was a Kingdom Hearts game that I was very much being like, I hadn't gotten for so long, and I was very much looking at just being like... For years, I'd just been like, I could probably get it, but I didn't, but now I have, so... Pretty cool. I'm glad I finally have it. And that, my friends, is every single game I purchased at Portland Retro this year. Lots of games. Lots of games indeed. I'm going to take a drink, by the way. In terms of the other stuff that I got, let's talk about accessories. So behind me, you guys probably can't see it, but under that GameCube right now is the new Game Boy player unit I finally got. I finally have a Game Boy player unit. Not the disc, because you don't need a disc. I've tested it. It does work. It works with Game Boy interface, so everything works fine. I have noticed a weird thing with my capture card, though, and this is something with my other retro consoles, too, where for some reason on my Live Gamer Ultra 2.1, my new one, whenever you use, like, specifically high fidelity for Game Boy interface, the screen wants to keep, and it might actually be, and it's also partially the monitor, too, or something. It might be also partially the, well, actually, I think it's actually the thing, where it likes to kind of scroll the actual screen and then slightly go down. I don't know why it does that. It doesn't do that with my Live Gamer 4K, my last capture card. So at least I have a backup capture card to, you know, alleviate that, but still kind of weird. Alongside that, I also got, like, I can't show it here, but I got a Radio Shack S-Video / composite switcher. It's a 4-in-1 basically, and that's really nice because that means I no longer need to like unplug a bunch of cords every time I want to try a different console, which is nice. And I have just enough consoles for it too, which is nice. I'm going to be looking for I also found AV cables too to work with that, but I need to find an S-Video cable. But apparently you could just get that from Best Buy, so I'll probably just get one from Best Buy. And then maybe but I might also look into replacing some other things too in the future, because apparently I actually tested my Retro Tank Mini with a couple consoles, my PlayStation 2 and my Genesis. And the PlayStation 2 was very much like very blurry because it was 480i and everything else like that. Its composites just like whatever. But the Genesis looked especially awful. I'm just like, why does this look washed out? Why do the colors look wrong? Apparently, On RetroTink's website, they actually state, hey, do not use the Genesis with the RetroTink 2X Mini. So, that's probably why. So, I'll probably have to get, maybe at some point, I'll probably have to give a better upscaler, but that's definitely going to be much later. But yeah, there's that and everything else like that. And alongside that, I also, what else I guess? Oh yeah, I finally got an SNES mouse, so I can finally play Mario Paint on my Super Nintendo. And everything else like that. Looking through my list. Yeah. Even on to, yeah. Yeah, the 5X, but that's like $325. That's the problem. I don't know if I want to like spend that much money yet, so. Yeah, I saw Luigi Mansion 1 is coming. But I think my favorite accessory I got was actually from Castlemania Games. Castlemania Games was there. I ended up getting a wireless Genesis controller, a 6-button Genesis controller. This is the one made by Retrobit. And I got it for $5 under MSRP, funnily enough. But this one, what's really cool about this is that it has 2 dongles with it. So it has a dongle for the Genesis and also for PC and consoles. So not only can you use this with an actual Genesis, you can also use it with a Switch or a PC or a Mac or various other USB devices that might support it, which is really, really cool. And it also feels a lot better than my previous Genesis controller. My previous Genesis controller fucking sucked. It was very old. It was the one that came with the Genesis that I got earlier this year, and it was clearly very old, and I was getting misinputs in fucking Mean Bean Machine. So I knew I had to get another one, and this is what I ended up getting. Very nice. I actually really like this. I think I definitely preferred this variation of the Genesis controller over the original. This also works with the Genesis Mini as well because of the USB. But yeah, really nice controller. If you can get one of these, if you have a Genesis and you want to get one of these, definitely recommend it. I think it's very, very nice. Funnily enough, you can actually make this, like if you want to with like certain commands, you can make this like an analog stick or something else like that, or something else, which is kind of interesting. Sorry, I'm repeating myself, but cool controller. I like it. All right, now to get on to the more weird stuff. There was a booth that specifically had like, there was like 2 sides. There was like a booth with like 2 different people. And this one person was actually giving away a bunch of like, well, not giving away, but it was selling a bunch of like old and various different like Nintendo, My Nintendo stuff or posters or anything else like that that they had, or other type of knickknacks, and was actually donating, I think, part of the proceeds to a charity, actually, specifically around ferrets and everything else like that, which is really, really cool. And had a lot of various things. I ended up donating a little bit to that charity. And I actually also ended up donating part of, I actually ended up donating like, I think $7, I think, to the charity and everything else like that, was really cool. I gave $6, and then whenever I was paying for the thing I got from here, I was like, keep the dollar and donate it. And I'm just like, hey, thank you. But the 2 things I ended up getting there was something I had not seen before, but it probably doesn't surprise me they exist. Kirby manga, published by Enix. This is most likely the first variation and then the 4th variation and everything else like that, but is like actual Kirby manga. Like you read it from right to left and everything else like that. So you go like this. So you have to read like that and everything else like that. And oh, this art is so cute. Look at this art. It's so cute. That's a cute Kirby right there. Both these were only $2 each. So I got these for $4. So I thought that was a really cool full one. Is there furry Ghana above the kanji? I do not know. I do not know. Yeah, I'm not so sure. Give me a second. This is 4-panel manga. It's yeah. Apparently this is like a, wait, hold on. Oh, this is a slip off. Oh, that's a slip off. Oh, that's kind of neat. And there's a little thing inside. Short Comics Theater is what it says. That's cool. That's really cool. I like that. That's really cool. I didn't realize that was a thing. But yeah, ended up getting that. And then we got into the last 2 things, which are plushies. And I ended up getting 2 of them. One of them is another big boy, Storm the Albatross. Finally got this boy. I got this boy for around 30 bucks, or exactly 30 bucks, which was actually much cheaper than getting it on Amazon. And I really like him. He looks very nice. I need to take off the tag still. But I like him a lot. He's got it. He's very top heavy. It's like pear-shaped, but upside down. You're beloved. I know you're very happy about this person, but look at this boy. I love these plushes. These plushes are very cool. Apparently, some Deadly Six plushes are coming, but they're not doing Zavik yet? Or Umnom? Don't know why. But there's that one. But then the final thing, which to me is, I got it because of the sentiment and because of, specifically, like, to me, I feel like it's something I've been watching recently with my partners and a good friend of mine. I feel like this would be fitting for me to finally get. It's Luna! I got a Luna plush from Sailor Moon. And before anybody asks, I do believe this is official. And everything else like that. Clever Idiots is the name of the company, it seems like. But this is a Luna plush and everything else like that. And it's very cute. Look at how cute this is. This is actually as tall as some of my bigger plushes, actually, which is kind of funny. But she's very good and everything else like that. I was very happy to get this. It's a nice little representation of what I've been watching recently with my partners. It's a cat-sized cat, exactly. But yeah, she's very, very cute and everything else like that. And I'm very happy I got her. She was only 15 bucks, which is a steal for plushes. So. But that is everything that I got from Portland Retro, which is pretty neat. But yeah. Okay, that was a lot of talking. So now that I've gotten that out of the way and everything else, God, my chair sucks. I want to actually go ahead and just mention that yes, tomorrow I will be checking out the Kirby Direct. Just want to get that out of the way because I know some people are just like, "Are you going to be watching it?" Yes, and I'm going to have potentially some co-coms for it as well. So if you are up tomorrow, chat, come hang out and everything else like that. That'll be a lot of fun. But yeah, I think that is pretty much all I gotta discuss right now in terms of Portland Retro and everything else like that. Also, Slime, by the way, if I didn't say hi earlier, hello. Anyway, what's next? I don't know. I really only thought I only thought this through, honestly. I just want to dance. I could, but like that would require a lot of setup. Is the problem. I don't really have a proper setup right now for playing them. The only one I really have set up for is like this and the DS games. I'm fair crazy, dude. I'd say Pac-Man World 2, but I don't want to attempt the final boss right now. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that to myself. I don't want to do that to myself, chat, please. Yeah, this might have been all I thought about doing. I've played so much Galaxy at this point, Galactic. Mario Party Crowd Control? I mean, Crowd Control Spinball to see what the mess that is. We could have a random retro roulette. Oh, my God. Oh, chat. Okay. We're getting to this thing where my brain can't decide which one to do. Pull it. But what if I end up not wanting to do it afterwards? That's my problem with doing polls sometimes, chat, where it's just like, what if I don't want to do this afterwards? Take a break and figure it out at the time. I could just keep the stream short today. I really had nothing else planned, chat. I really just wanted to talk about Portland Retro. And that was basically it. So, I don't know what else to tell you. Yeah. Yeah, that's an option too. Right now, chat. Then we'll dive into something deeper on Friday. I think I might just want to do that then. Yeah, they are a thing. You can say that. I imagine they are a thing. Thanks for letting me know at AdBlock. I appreciate it. Hey, James. Ugh. So how are you all today? I'm here. I exist. I exist, chat. I do in fact exist today. You germed. You gemmed and had a burger and Borgor for dinner. Trying to figure out Borgor. I thought that was tomorrow drops. I thought we'd do that tomorrow. Cause I gotta get up early for Kirby. Unless I'm wrong. Oh my god. Things have been messy! Fuck. Wow, wow, wow. Wow, 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 wow. Wow, wow, wow. Wow, wow, wow.
Bigger.
Wow. Hi, Bird Wizard. I'm currently... Yeah. Aha. What are you looking forward to with the direct tomorrow morning? To explain what the fuck that thing was at the end of the last one. There's been so much speculation about what that is, and I just want them to tell us. I do want them to go more into detail about the online. Maybe show off some more characters being that are coming to the game, or maybe more courses. They're definitely holding back on stuff, so I definitely want to see more stuff. Oh yeah, I forgot that got announced. Oh yeah. Anyway, that's my personal thoughts. So yeah. Wow, I'm so like in the chat. This is very much like my thing where it's just like Susie being heavyweight is nice. I saw that. She's a fat ass apparently. Do we call here? I think we should. That'd probably be a good idea. We'll keep it short today, then, chat. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate you guys listening to my story and everything else like that. So, schedule for the week. Thursday, tomorrow, starting at 5:45 a.m. Pacific time. We're gonna watch the Kirby Air Riders Direct. Friday, we will be we're probably gonna give that boss in Pac-Man World 2 another shot, and then maybe do something else, and all that type of such. So. I think that'll be a thing. We will most likely do a Halloween stream again this year. I don't know what I'm going to do for it, but we will see what happens. I have some ideas, but we'll see. But thanks all for hanging out. I think I'll just go ahead and end the stream here. So, y'all have a good night. Please stay safe and everything else like that. Maybe raid Nikki if we do the raid. Is Nikki live? Oh, she is live. Okay. All right. The raid message will be... I tired. The raid message will be I tired. All right. All right, guys, go hang out with Nikki. She's apparently playing the game she got at Portland Retro herself because she has a better setup for that. So y'all go hang out with her and everything else like that. I'll be back tomorrow morning for the Kirby Direct and Friday for another live stream. So take it easy, everybody. Y'all have a fantastic night. Take care of yourselves and everything else like that. I will see you back here tomorrow. Till then. Yeah. Bye, everybody. Nice. Later, folks.